Hi, this is Peg from the International Kitchen, and today I'm going to be doing one of my favorite new recipes, which is for homemade ricotta cheese. Now, cheese making might sound like something you can't do at home, but ricotta cheese is one of the easiest things to make. It does not use any special ingredients to curdle the cheese. All it uses is milk, some type of acid. It's an acid curdled cheese, so either lemon juice or vinegar, and salt. And that's basically it. It's super easy. And it's so much better than the ricotta cheese that you can buy in the supermarket. Now, in Italy, for example, it's made commercially with leftover whey that's used for making other cheeses. Now, we don't have leftover whey here. We will have leftover whey after we make our ricotta cheese, and I'll tell you what you can do with that also. But for this ricotta cheese, you're just using regular milk. Couple important things. You can use any type of milk. You can use sheep's milk if you can find it, goat's milk, cow's milk, of course. You can't use oat milk or soy milk or things like that. Also, don't get ultra pasteurized milk because that is processed at too high of a temperature. You want regular, you can use raw milk if you use raw milk, but otherwise regular pasteurized milk. Now, this is for about 2 cups of ricotta. I'm going to need 2 quarts of milk, whole milk. You'll see some recipes also include cream. This ricotta is creamy enough. You don't need to include any cream. If you want to, go for it. That's up to you. But I just use regular whole milk. I've already got a quart in here, and I'm just adding another quart. I use my enamel pot. You can use a stainless steel pot if you prefer. And we're going to put it on the stove and bring it to just under a boil. Okay, so the milk is just under a boil. I can see that it's steaming a bit and really just starting to froth at the sides. So it's just under a boil. I'm just going to give it about 30 more seconds. There we go. And then I'm going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to add my acid. And when you add your acid, just add it and give one quick stir, and then be done with it. You don't want to keep stirring it, or you'll break up the coagulation that you've just created. It looks disgusting, but it's supposed to. We're going to leave this sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to strain it. So I've been letting this sit for just a few minutes. It doesn't take very long. And we're going to strain it. So you're going to need some type of a bowl or pot. I'm going to use a glass bowl so that you can kind of see what it looks like. And a fine mesh strainer lined with cheesecloth. And then we're just going to strain it. Let it drain for it depends on how thick you like your ricotta. If you like it really thick, then you might let it strain for even up to an hour. If you like it kind of loose, 20 or 30 minutes is plenty. It's a little hot. It's a little hot, so I'm going to just carefully pour it in. I don't know if you can see the chunks of curdled cheese. And I actually have 2 bowls here because it's a lot. Now, you'll only get about 2 cups of cheese from a half a gallon of milk, which is, there's a lot of byproduct to this. Don't throw it out. The whey that is left over can be used for other recipes. You can basically use it as a substitute for milk or for buttermilk in breads, in cakes, in pancakes. I use it when I make crepes because a lot of times I like to actually fill the crepes. I'll make savory crepes and fill them with the fresh ricotta, and then I use the whey to make the crepes, which is, obviously a great way to use that whey up that you've just made. It keeps in the refrigerator for a couple days anyway. I've never kept it for longer than that, but keep straining it. So while the ricotta is straining, let's just talk a little bit about cheese. Cheese is basically just coagulated milk, right? It's milk that's turned into chunks. And then you can salt it, you can age it, you can do all different kinds of things with it, but it's the coagulation that makes the cheese. And most cheese is made with rennet, which is it's like a complex of enzymes that causes that coagulation. Today with ricotta, we're just doing it with acid. It's the simplest thing that you can do because everybody has vinegar, lemon juice at home, some type of acid. You can even use different types of citrus if you prefer. Try lime juice, try sour orange juice, try you can even try grapefruit juice. Different types of vinegars might give your ricotta a slightly different flavor, but it's the easiest way to cause that coagulation. Rennet itself is usually taken from the stomach of a young animal, like a calf. There are vegetarian types of rennet. I've never used them. On our cooking vacations, particularly in Italy, you would make rennet-based cheeses. But you can find rennet also if you try ricotta and you'd want to try something a little bit more complex, you can find rennet available also in the U.S. and can just order it online, or certain specialty grocery stores will have it as well. But for this, it's not needed. It's the simplest thing imaginable. And then once the ricotta is made, you can use it like any ricotta. You can make it into pastas, cakes, pies, eat it plain. I like to make it into crepes. I like it in desserts, just sweeten it a little bit with some fruit, and it is just absolutely divine. And it is a creamier, and the texture is different than the ricotta that you will find in a grocery store. So it's just lovely, and I encourage you to try it because I think you'll never go back. It does, again, take a lot of milk to get a little bit of cheese, but you can repurpose that whey that you have made as well. Whey, it's fun making cheese with kids. You'll hear about curds and whey as a youngster, and to actually make something that has curds and whey it gives new meaning to all of the nursery rhymes. So I've been straining this for about 25 minutes, and I'm going to leave it at that. It looks the right consistency to me. One thing to note when you are straining it, when you add the cheesecloth, don't add an excessive number of layers of cheesecloth because it will impede the straining process. So just a double layer is fine. Just how it comes out of the package is usually already doubled over, and I find that works perfectly. So I don't know if you can see, but it's cheese now. It's not milk, and it's not a hard cheese. It's just a nice soft cheese. I'm just going to scrape off what I can from the cheesecloth, and then you can just see that you have fresh ricotta. And the last step is just to add a little bit of salt. Now, if you're using it for a sweet preparation, you might not want to add salt. You can also add the salt to the milk before you heat it, but then your whey will also be slightly salty. So depending on what you want to use these products for, you might not. I usually salt it after it's already made. I will add a little bit of salt even for sweet preparations, but a very little. And if I'm doing a savory preparation, I'll add a little bit more. Could you add other things? Herbs? I imagine that you could. So, and it's just fresh homemade ricotta. Now, I'm going to taste a little bit of it because I can't resist. But it's going to go into the refrigerator to cool completely. It will thicken up a little bit more as it cools as well. But it's just fresh, delicious, milky goodness. So tasty. We hope you've enjoyed making cheese with us today. You can make cheese with us on our cooking vacations in Italy, and that is a lot of fun. You can find details on all of our tours, all of our culinary vacations on our website, www.theinternationalkitchen.com. And we hope you enjoy your cheese.